Hi there, and welcome to this bonus episode of the Gazette's Hockey Inside Out Show. I'm Stu Count of the Gazette, joined by former Canadiens teammates and 1986 Stanley Cup champs, Brian Skrudland, who's filling in for Chris Nyland, and Rick Green. Rick, every city the Canadiens go to, there's Canadian sweaters everywhere. I mean, Ottawa, it's almost like a home game. We saw it in Winnipeg. We see it everywhere they go. Was it the same way back when you guys were playing?
It was. I was always amazed. I don't care. Winnipeg, Vancouver, the cheering that we'd get, go Habs, go, it was unreal. I mean, even Edmonton, it was just phenomenal to see the turnout of Canadian fans, no matter where we went. And I guess that's what happens when you have a little bit of success. You get a lot of people that are jump on board, but really special to know that you have a following like that, no matter where you go. And even if you went down east, you had an amazing number of Canadian fans, and what a real thrill to be a part of that organization and realize that you get that type of reception no matter where you go, and we'll always remember it.
Now, Brian, you're in Calgary, and when the Habs play the Flames there, it's like a home game for them.
It's truly incredible. And as an opposing player coming into a rink, especially when it was my first season, and to see that, it was just, I mean, you came out fired up. You were, like you say, it was like a home game. So, and you never wanted to disappoint. You got out here once. West, and so you wanted to put a good show on for the people. I'll never forget my first time stepping on the ice in Edmonton. Not only were there a ton of Habs fans, but I don't know what made it, but that ice surface, first time stepping onto Edmonton, and people had said to me, they've got that speed ice, like it's incredible. Well, I'll tell you what, even I thought I was a good skater for the 2 days that we were there. The practice, I'd never skated better in my life. So it, a little bit up here, but at the same time, I think that ice out in Edmonton was so great. So always made for a good game.
That must be why I had such a hard time, holding my blue line, because the ice was too good and they had too many Edmonton guys that could fly out there. So I had to back up to the front.
Are you kidding? You had that 30-foot pool skimmer out, the hand up. You were playing, you say, gun in the holster, Greenie, gun in the holster.
Well, when you're in Washington, I'm sure, Rick, when you went on the road, there wasn't a lot of supporters around there. But as a Hab, I mean, the first time you experienced that must have been cool.
Yeah, it was something I never really thought of until you live it and you see it, and you see the people after the game and they come up to you and they talk to you like they've known you for a few years and talk about stories. So again, just a real treat to be part of the Montreal Canadiens family and organization and experience what we experienced.
Well, Brian, Stu, if I can really quick, I'll never forget as well that early in my career when we'd get out to Washington, for instance, and play in Landover, Maryland, and you'd hit a person into the boards. Well, their boards would move 3 feet. You almost hit the person harder coming off the boards. Now, if you were a first-time player coming into the Montreal Forum, and you might have been used to playing in Landover, Maryland, those boards never moved an inch or a centimeter, or however you want to measure it. But it was like, wow, people really, there was a lot of injuries, Greenie? Or like for young people that had never played at the Forum, thinking they were just going to accept and hit along the boards, and it usually resulted in a shoulder or something.
Oh, I still remember Larry Robinson breaking the boards with that hit on Gary Dornhofer.
Well, there you go.
And the guy coming out with the hammer to try and hammer the boards back together. But Brian, you played in Florida, and there's a lot of Habs fans in Florida. What was it like when you were with the Panthers and at home and all these Habs sweaters in the crowd?
Well, of course, Eastern Canada, that's the vacation spot. So,
yeah.
And all of Hallandale, Hollywood, I mean, French-speaking Canadians that were down there with their Hab uniforms on, their Nordique uniforms. After about 2 years, we finally got a few Panther uniforms in our stable. After year 3, when we went to the finals, now we almost had everybody wearing a Panther uniform. So gradual acceptance of the local team. But man, the Habs they're so well respected right across the league.
Well, you worked in management with the Panthers after also, Brian. What's it like for you to see what's happened with that franchise now?
I am so proud of that group and Bill Zito, what he's done down there, and the entire group. I worked with Brian McCabe in the player development side of things, and what Brian's done there with all those young guys as well is it's incredible. They finally had that chance. I mean, it makes the world of difference, right? You really have to stink for a year or two and get those picks. When you start getting the Johnny Hubertos and the Barkoffs and the Ekblads in your stable, I mean, you're setting yourself up for a few years. So we're praying to God to get rid of Kadri here in Calgary so that this team here can get a little younger and continue along their steps as well. I think they're taking the right steps here in my hometown.
So what's it like for you now in Calgary as a former Hab, Brian, who scored a very famous overtime goal in the Stanley Cup final against the Flames? Are you
not allowed to talk about it here, Stu? Well, I hated all these guys, right, Stu? 86, 89. Yeah. And then I find myself as a teammate. And the first, I'm sure I mentioned this story, but the first guy that I met was Jim Poplinski. Well, anyway, he comes running over and says hello in the St. Francis Hotel and introduces him. Says, by the way, my name's Jim, not Horsehead. I used to call him Horsehead all the time. So anyway, I went from being number one enemy to a good friend. So anyway, it's all been good.
Well, it's been that 86 team, Rick. You guys won a cup together. This was a young team, this Canadiens team now, the youngest team in the NHL. Do you see any similarities to this team, to the team that you guys won the cup with?
I would like to think so. I think they're, like I've said before, they're a very close group. Their chemistry is good. They have good balance. They're getting good scoring. You're getting a lot of guys that have elevated their play in the last year. So the timing might be good for them to have some type of success moving forward. So they have a lot of good things happening with a lot of their players that are a little more mature, a little more seasoned. And this is what you need: getting good health and getting everybody pulling on the rope the same way. And they're doing that right now. And I think their record speaks for themselves.
Brian, what do you think? Do you see similarities?
Well, yeah, they've got a lot of young guys, and let's face it, young goaltenders. We always look back at that 86 Stanley Cup. You don't do it without Patrick standing on his head the way he did, and so one of those goalies is going to have to step up, or both of them for that matter. And then timely scoring. You can get a Claude Lemieux back into that lineup for these guys and score the way Claude did back in 86. That was so magical.
You were a young guy on that team, Brian. What would, if the Canadiens get into playoffs, it looks like they will, what would be your best piece of advice to the young guys going into that?
Forget all the idea that you got to be older to win the Stanley Cup. And every chance you get to lace those skates up and get into that postseason, it's pretty special. So you got to take full advantage of it and play your best every single shift. Every shift matters. And doesn't matter what the score is at any point in time. You're always you're playing for that next goal, that next shift, and take no prisoners.
And I always think back. I thought we were a better team in 89 than we were in 86. And the difference was certain individuals found a way to get their unbelievable good game at the right time. You talk about timing, you talk about individuals. It's going to be so critical for some guys that the expectations maybe weren't as high until you see them getting the job done in the playoffs that allow you to advance. And it's going to be so critical that guys that you didn't think were going to excel, they excel. And next thing you know, you're moving on.
Well, that's it for this bonus episode of the Hockey Inside Out show. We'll be taking a few weeks off with the Olympic break, just like the Canadiens players are. We'll be back with our next Hockey Inside Out show on March 4th, so you can look forward to that. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out YouTube channel. And in case you didn't already know, Hockey Inside Out is also available now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.